if they just kept operating according to what was acceptable and what was the standard, black people would never be liberated. If it were not for operating outside of the box and breaking rules, we would not be celebrating 50 years in an independent Bahamas. Y'all talk to me now. I'm talking revolution. In order to access the rights, the privileges, and benefits we enjoy today, our founding fathers in this country had to push the envelope, break some rules, and challenge the system. That's why you have the benefits you have. Because most people who are opposed to change are those who selfishly benefit from the way things currently are. Even at the expense, in most cases, Roberta, of the majority. So I don't want nothing change because I living off this. I benefiting from this. This working for me. It don't matter that all of y'all suffering and struggling and going through and can't make it. Keep it the way it is. Because as far as I am concerned, I good with this. I could pay my bills. Who cares what yours? Things happening for me. I could fly where I want to fly, do what I want to do. I could build a couple homes and have property on every island. Why change things? Keep it the way it is. Most people who fight change are benefiting from the way things are. We all lived in this country, but only a few privileged individuals benefited, while everyone else suffered and struggled. But it took men with a mind to function outside of the unjust norm to break the oppressive power that held us captive. It took men of courage and strength to confront injustice and usher in a new day in the Bahamas, giving us the right to enjoy the blessings we now enjoy as Bahamians, that in my opinion, however, still does not go far enough. Enough of us are not benefiting. And I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, that the kind of leadership we need now in the Bahamas is the kind that is willing to once again upset the status quo and begin to carve out what the next 50 years should look like by introducing new and radical ideas that are as revolutionary as the ideas of majority rule and independence was 50 years ago. Y'all understanding me? Majority rule was a radical idea. Independence was a radical idea because that was the system. Minority rule was the system. So the idea that we can govern ourselves was a radical idea. But it is what led to our liberty, our prosperity, our freedom. It could have resulted in some very scary repercussions. But thank God he saw us through. But we cannot get so comfortable in this country that we stop pushing the envelope, challenging ourselves and confronting restrictive and oppressive ideas that the original intent of our forefathers, which was the realization of the Bahamian dream for all, continue to evade us as a people. I appreciate the tourism numbers and the rebound of the economy after the pandemic, but something still ain't right. I know y'all ain't gonna like me, that's fine. Y'all ain't called me. Something still ain't right. And I stand as a prophetic voice with no ties on no side to say something still ain't right. And y'all know it, but nobody want challenge the system. Because we don't have bad men and women as much as we have a system that is not designed to prosper the masses. So sometimes it ain't just about changing the people, because we keep changing the people and getting the same results. But we need a revolution that changes the system, so no matter who you put in there, they govern by the system, and there must be prosperity and liberty. Why y'all ain't saying nothing to me? Because some of y'all benefiting from the way things are now. So you don't want me ruffle no feathers. Leave that alone, Pastor. I ain't come to be a politician, but I am a prophet, and I want to declare that in the Bahamas, a generation is rising up that ain't gonna sit down and allow what has been to continue, because revolutionaries are getting ready to rise up and declare we want our things too. If I'm preaching and you could feel me in the Holy Ghost, I just need to hear the lion roar tonight. Help me, Lord.
Then got to go. Then got to go. Well, I might come clean. About a year ago, I was offered bribes in the terms of hundreds of thousands of dollars to sell out the membership. I refused the bribes. I wrote a letter to the CEO asking for an investigation to take place. I named the names of all the persons who I was told I'd be sharing this money with. Since there's never been anything concerning that investigation brought back to the union or brought back to me or any conclusion. But ever since, I noticed slight victimization in the way they handling me and handling the department I work in. Because last Friday, it's understood that they tried to remove 2 senior level officials in BPL. Now today, I understand that they calling my manager and one of my co-workers asking him to resign with immediate effect, right? And I call on the chair lady on this board to be removed. Chair lady, you know just what's going on, okay? Because it had to come from the board level. All of these things that are happening, all these targeting. You all did not finish that investigation where a man tried to bribe me of all those hundreds of thousands of dollars to do that work in Clifton Pier. To prove that is true, one of the names that this man gave me, the company actually fired for doing what this man said he did. Take that investigation to the police that we signed and all the witnesses that I was bribed.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome, welcome, welcome. So glad to have you all here. Um, Screen looks a little fuzzy. So glad to have you all here. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us. Of course, we're gonna have an interesting conversation about our electricity in this country, for the most part, and it's going to be pretty shocking as I traverse New Providence since our last live. Well, since so a clip there during one of my live BPL and how it works and how we pay 4 times for one bill, and that's why we have the most expensive electricity in the region, probably in the hemisphere. People wanted to understand more, and I was surprised at how many young people were so interested in that. Young people who see their parents having to pay such a big bill and that the bill doesn't make sense. It seems like they're just estimating the bill. As some young people in their 20s who live in apartments saying that their bill went from this amount to that amount and it doesn't add up. And they're wondering what this fuel surcharge is and how it is so expensive. and how that works. And they were curious about NIB and how the money for our fuel is coming from NIB. Also, they're curious about all these different companies that are shooting up. There's BEC, there's BPL, there's Pike, there's Island Grid Solutions, there's Bahamas Grid Company. There's all these companies popping up, and it's meant to confuse the Bahamian people. But today, we're going to unconfuse it for you. This is a masterclass, and I want you to know that class is in session. And so we're going to sit down today and explain all of this to all of you to make sure you understand what has been going on. You have been hoodwinked. You have been bamboozled, and the same set of people have been benefiting from what belongs to the Bahamian people. And it's time for change. I'm going to be joined, of course, by our intelligent and beautiful chairman. Once I finish the first segment talking about two other stuff, and she's going to join me to talk about this BPL situation. We even heard talks of these salaries and who's getting paid what. And people are shocked because they put out something saying that the persons, including the BPL union president, is making a couple $100,000 a year. You're going to be shocked at how much the foreigners they bring in make. Foreigners who are doing things that Bahamians can't do. What he's making a year, some of these guys are making a month. Make sure you sit down for this one today. All right. And so we're going to have a real conversation today. We're going to go through some documents. We're going to show you that stuff that we talk about NIB. We're going to show you that in writing because we always have the documents. And so we're going to show you how they've been raping and robbing you with BPL, and they continue to do so. I'm going to have to start from explaining to you where BPL comes from, why BPL was formed in the first place and it's not BEC anymore, and what they are actually doing and how you are being robbed. All right, so hang with me and our chairman, and we're going to make sure that you understand exactly what's going on. Before we go there, I just want to touch on two quick things before we get there. One of them is that we have heard that it appears that the government is making payments to companies owned by Eric Player Gardiner again. Um, Top Notch is now being run by Monique Bonnaby, and Monique Bonnaby is now saying that the company making money again, and they're afraid that they don't know what's going on allegedly. So if the government is continuing to pay money to a criminal organization whose purpose was money laundering, our country has gone to the dogs. There is no more law and order because our government is breaking the law. What bank account should a company that's run by a known drug dealer with two indictments, separate indictments in two different states against him, what bank account should that company have? And we're hearing that there's another indictment to come. In what world would those companies have a bank account to receive monies from the government? Well, the truth of the matter is, those persons at the Renaissance who were working, the vendors, etc., vendors, not just construction workers, vendors who were doing stuff like electrical, plumbing, and other vendors providing stuff were being paid in cash. Before all of this, that's what they were paid in cash. Now, remember, a government loan funded this, a government loan from a scholarship fund. I mean, that is sick. A government loan from a scholarship fund funded this whole thing. And so it seems that they kept the scholarship fund money in the banking system and paid cash from the drug dealing. That way, they get to keep the money from the government loan situation as legitimate money and pay cash from drug dealing and other nefarious activities. For every right thinking Bahamian, We cannot let our country go down like this. This is not right. This is not about politics. It doesn't matter what your politics is. We cannot stand for this as Bahamians. Our government taxpayer money has been used for money laundering and drug dealing. And it appears that it continues to happen. There needs to be an immediate commission of inquiry on this matter. The license of Bank of the Bahamas should be cancelled if they are still allowing Top Notch to do this. Investigations have shown where there's another individual who deals with financing in Top Notch who got a loan, a $70,000 loan for a Tesla vehicle. But the person who gave him the loan is a banker who works at Commonwealth Bank. Commonwealth Bank has nothing to do with this, but I'm just telling you where the person works. A banker who works at Commonwealth Bank, that person signed off on it, on his signature, I'm saying. And but that person also got a property directly from Player. This country is immersed in corruption right now. There are so many people, even good people, who have let themselves go down for gain to make Player Gardiner powerful. We cannot let our good Christian nation go down like this. You all better wake up. We are going to pay for this. When the powerful nations, the imperial nations, want to remove a government, they don't go after the government, you know. They go after the people. They make them suffer so they can rise up and remove that government. They crush the economy and they crush the nation so the people could get angry and be disturbed and want to move the government. Y'all really want to go through that? You've seen it all over the world, including Venezuela that recently happened. Philip Brave Davis. You, the PLP oligarchs, the FDM oligarchs, you've made lots of money over the years. Brent Simonettes, Frankie Wilson, so all of you, you've made lots of tons of money that you could never spend. Please don't destroy our country as you are getting in the twilight of your life and getting ready to leave this earth. We got to stay here and live with this. God has given you all a chance to do what is right. You all stop while you're ahead. The corruption must stop. Who the hell do y'all think y'all are to destroy this country as y'all are leaving it? As y'all are leaving this world? Our country has been used as a drug organization. But think about the people y'all are leaving behind. Y'all stop before y'all destroy this little thing that we have. And so it appears that a bank continues to do business with these companies that have been named, I want you to know that if you're going to buy anything from Player Gardiner or any company attached to him, I've shown you the documentation, they come in for you. I want you all to understand that. My fellow Bahamians, run from anything to do with that. And let's stand up and show the outsiders that we as a country can do what is right. So I just wanted to update you all with that to make sure that you all are fully abreast of what is going on, because that is sickening to hear that banks in this country would still be connected to those companies that we have been naming. And we can name those companies because the foreign law enforcement knows about them. I hope you understand what I'm saying. This ain't just information that we have that we are putting out there. I want you to understand that this goes bigger than that. It's a serious matter. Y'all, let's pray for this nation. And not just pray, because people are saying that we need to have a time of prayer. And yes, I understand. You should always pray. But let me tell you all something before we get started. Let me tell you all something. The Bible says when the wicked rule, people mourn. When the righteous rule, the people rejoice. The problem is not the lack of. It didn't say when the wicked rule and you don't pray. It says when the wicked rule. You got to throw Jonah off the ship, not pray because he on the ship. As long as we keep corrupt governments in power, then what do you think is going to happen? What do you expect to happen? Do you all understand what I'm saying? No, we have to move them. And that's what has to be done. All right? So, just so you all understand, your country in trouble, eh? And some stuff about to start coming down from the north. Well, just be ready for it. And don't play surprise. Don't pretend to be surprised. Don't say, oh, we got to stand with our country. We are not standing with evil doing. Don't say you got to defend crooked politicians. We're not defending crooked politicians. We're going to stand as a nation for what is right. So when action starts to get taken against our country or our leaders who may be doing wrong, listen, don't say is the Bahamas against anyone. It's them. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Let's fix this country. All right? All right. So the next thing I wanted to talk to you about, Old Bahama Bay. You remember some stuff was going on down there. IVRC, the company that a court had decided should give up vacant possession, refused to give up vacant possession, even though the court ordered that. They got vacant possession. Well, they were supposed to give vacant possession on order of the court. It said that their lease was null and void. You can Google it. IVRC lease null and void. Just Google that and you'll see. Just a few seconds will show you that. And so based on that, they should not have a business license. But you saw where LRA, and I'm not standing for LRA. I don't represent them in any way. But I'm saying what is right. Because this is also something that the international community is looking at and seeing the corruption of our government as it relates to this. LRA removed them and locked down the place on August 4th. And on August 5th, shockingly, all of a sudden, uh, what's their name, IVRC, all of a sudden on August 5th got license, a hotel license, a marina license, and a gas dock license on August 5th. All three of those licenses. The day after, they were removed. So obviously, they didn't have a license, eh? And so they were removed and came up all of a sudden with a license, which shows you that there's government interference. If the day after they could get a license, that means that they were talking to some government people and they decided, oh, let's hurry up, get you straight. So we could start kicking up and we could do some stuff, maybe even sue or do something. And so that's what happened. Now they are they have been removed. I don't know how they could be returned. They don't have any ground to stand on. Their lease is null and void. Um, the time to appeal that decision has passed, and so there's nothing for them because their lease is null and void. If you don't have a lease, you cannot get a license, a lease or own the property. And so what they're banking on now is that a new player who wants to buy, not the player, because his name is Progress, all right, Eric Progress Gardner. We're not talking about him, but a new player is there now who wants to buy the Gin property, and that player that they IVRC's person John McDonald, the criminal, um, is partnering with them, and they're using that as their only hope as to getting a right to come back onto the property. All right, so that's their strategy now because they know they have no authority. And also, there was another separate lawsuit where some of the homeowners were disgusted at how their units were being kept. You remember I did live broadcasts on this. They were disgusted at how their units were being kept. They were disgusted at the fact that they were supposed to have a profit share and they were getting nothing from it. Um, and they got no accounting, even though the agreement was that they would get a full accounting, and nothing was being accounted to them. And so they decided to sue, and the court made an injunction at the time saying that they had 21 days to give the accounting, otherwise, they would be removed as the homeowner associations, one, two, and three, the three of them, would be removed, and the person managing for them would therefore not be able to manage anymore. That's IVRC. But they would be removed, and another administrator would be placed there. And so they're resisting that now. They're resisting that also. They resist everything. When they were removed by the courts initially with LRA, when LRA won, saying that LRA owns the property, which they do, they said, well, it said, I forgot how they worded it. Vacant possession. They said that they must give vacant possession. That's what the court said. But they said vacant possession only means that once it sells, you have to give vacant possession. You don't have to do it now. That's not what it is. So they started playing with words, saying we're not moving because the court didn't say we have to move now, even though the court did actually say that immediately. They ignored that and said that the vacant possession means that they don't have to move until it's sold. They made their own definitions. And so now, again, with this situation that they're in now, they with some of the homeowners who got a court injunction against them. It's interlocutory injunction. They are pretending that it's not something final, or they're pretending to not know what it is. But it clearly said that they would be removed as administrators. They're saying that they don't. They're playing that they don't know what administrator means. The law is clear and it defines it that they would be removed from all operations and management, and a new administrator would come in to do just that. But they're pretending to not know what it means. And there's a couple homeowners who are partial to the criminal John McDonald, and they're trying to confuse other homeowners, but most of them are not falling for that. But that's where they are. They're also pushing this narrative that some of the homeowners are renting the units, and they should not be renting their own units to their friends and family or their people. And that's not what the agreement said. They said that the agreement says that they cannot rent the units. Actually, the agreement says that they can rent the units. The hotel license with the IVRC, close attention, is with IVRC, and they are shareholders in IVRC, right? That's the first thing. They're shareholders in IVRC. It's just that the person that's running it was running it in a way that they felt was totally wrong, and they moved to have them removed. Now, they were shareholders in IVRC, and the agreement said that they can rent the units for part of the year. You get it? As the homeowners, they can rent for a part of the year, and IVRC can rent for a part of the year. All right? And it says, and so that puts them under IVRC's permission to rent, doesn't it? Because IVRC could rent, and the agreement says, but you can also rent your unit under the same arrangement for part of it, and that's covered. Now they said that if you rent it for more than the allotted time, which is supposed to be 3 months of the year, if you do it for more than that, then you have to pay. First, it was $200 a month to cover whatever expenses, rent or whatever, and then they increased it to $250 a month. So clearly, if that is the arrangement that IVRC has a hotel license, some of their shareholders are unit owners, and they decide that they want to rent this out because John McDonald was being crooked with what he was doing. Obviously, the document says, and I can show you the document. Maybe when our question and answer period starts, when the phone opens, I can pull that up. But maybe, obviously, that means that they have a right to rent their units and they're covered. And all they would have to do, according to whatever, is pay the 200 or 250 a month, and that's fine. But the problem is, IVRC, the agreement is based on IVRC having a lease. That's what the agreement says. And IVRC's lease is null and void. So they have no authority to demand anything of anyone. I hope you get this. Now, that whole area is an area that can be used for, and we believe and we know that Player Gardiner was using that area for planes to leave from. The plane that crashed was supposed to land there. All right? That's Player plane was supposed to land there to come in the West End and make sure Kingsley got his money, his political money. When Kingsley met with the drug dealers in the House of Assembly, some people think that they were DEA agents. No, they were drug dealers. DEA has confidential informants that are drug dealers that do drugs, but they're supposed to turn over people or set people up in the meantime. That's how they catch people. So he met with drug dealers in the House of Assembly. With Rivi Roll, who's a Bahamian drug dealer who's convicted before, and other drug dealers, and another drug pilot in the House of Assembly. And Kingsley Smith told me that he didn't talk about drugs in that meeting. He said they talked about the West End Resort. And what did he talk about the West End Resort? What it could be used for? The fact that there's a long runway there and a whole airport there. You have Family Islands that don't have airport. They have a whole new looking airport there. That they have docks there and boats can just leave whenever. What were you talking about, politician number one? That's the question. All right. And so uh, Lennox Patton, anyway, I'll leave that for later. But those persons from IVRC are now stenching in every way. They are trying to continue their darkness because they had politicians in their pocket because they gave stuff to politicians for elections, and that ain't illegal, nothing wrong with that. But when you do it for favor, and when you can clearly see the police coming to break the law for you when you are wrong, and the police doing wrong, that's when you know something is wrong. When you see that they could get a license the day after action was taken against them, that's when you know that corruption is rank and stink in this country. We got to fix this before we lose this one little country we got. Can you imagine how that looks to the United States that their legitimate investor invested in Gin, gave the money for Gin, Gin crumbled, and so they took over the property. And then someone comes and say he could be the management company, and he is a person with a serious criminal record from in the states, and he just came there, moseyed his way in, um, happened to get Bahamas Investment Authority rights to run a hotel as a criminal, a gas stock as a criminal, um, and what else? He was running the airport as a criminal. He was running the airport as a criminal, running a marina as a criminal, and disenfranchise the rightful owners. It's about taking no sides, 'cause I don't care about that part of it. But our government can't appear to be corrupt and taking bribes. Our police force can't be breaking the law, man. All right. So that's what's happening. The people there need their jobs, and so the government needs to take action. The rightful owners, LRA, wants to make sure that the people who've been working there continue to work. But the government apparently is stalling them in terms of licensing and that kind of stuff. So they don't want the people to work. So if you all are stalled and you don't have a job, it's the government doing that. All right. So it's up to y'all. It's up to y'all. So again, there's a license on the property, and the homeowners are shareholders in that license company, and they've decided that that's an internal matter. The persons who's been running that IVRC garbage, they have done things incorrectly, and they want to do that themselves, and they want them gone. And so that's where the confusion is. All right. So I can show you the actual agreements to show you where it doesn't say that they can't rent their place under the license arrangement. It says that they can, but it limited how much they could do it. But if they didn't stick to the limitation, then they just pay $200 a month to cover any extra expenses, etc. And that's it. All right, just so you understand that. It said they're being jammed. All right, so that's out of the way. Now let's have a conversation about BPL. And for this, I'm going to bring in our chairman, and we're going to have a conversation because we need to help everyone understand why they're suffering through all of these blackouts, etc. We need to help them understand. And if for some reason we have a blackout, um, we'll do what we have to do to make sure you get back up. All right. But ladies and gentlemen, um, our electricity situation is a crime against humanity. Some greedy people are making a lot of money from your suffering. Greedy people. And that's why we have this problem. And so I'm gonna introduce our chairman. This young lady is a champion in this country. She's a champion who's been fighting for the Bahamian people. Very intelligent businesswoman. I'm extremely impressed with her and her accolades and what she's been able to accomplish. She was one of the founders of Bahamian Evolution and of the Coalition of Independence. And she has been successful in making sure that the coalition has received the success it has received to this day. She's passionate when she speaks. Everyone understands what she says. She's intelligent, and she's a firecracker, and she speaks for the Bahamian people. What we are thinking, she is saying, and she's saying it with passion. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the next member of parliament for Carmichael constituency in Providence, Bahamas, Mrs. Charlotte Green. Ms. Green, welcome.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, Bahamas. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for that introduction, Mr. Bain. So, for those of you who are joining in for the first time, my name is Charlotte Green, and I'm the National Chairman for the Coalition of Independence. And like our leader said, tonight we are going to speak about Bahamas Power and Light. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are not here to defend fraud. We are not here to defend theft. We are certainly not here to defend corruption. If anybody stole public money, investigate them. If anybody, falsified records, investigate them. And if anybody committed fraud, prosecute them. But what we will not support is the public trial and public conviction of BPL employees simply because they received overtime that was assigned, authorized, processed, and paid through BPL's own management system. All right? If we say we can deal with two things at a time in this country, if we say we can chew gum and walk, let's do that then. To do it the right way. BPL is an organization, government managed, and there is a chain of command. There should not be a public prosecution and conviction of employees. There are serious questions that needs to be answered. But those questions, my fellow Bahamians, ladies and gentlemen, should not stop or start at employees. We should not have the no employees should not have to be answering those types of questions. Mr. Bean, this is a very critical matter. This is a critical matter. This is a critical matter. At the end of the day, the public is asking questions, but what I know is asking the wrong questions to the wrong people. So is the media. And the questions we need answering, Mr. Bean, concerning the employees who have received overtime, because the three employee names that they released, they're not the only ones who are receiving overtime. We need to follow the overtime from the beginning to the end. We need to know who requested the employees, who assigned the overtime, who approved those hours, who certified those hours. That's the payroll, okay? Not approve, or this started somewhere and it ended somewhere, and it did not start with the employees. So, Mr. Bain, it seems like the government or BPL threw out a boon to distract the Bahamian people from what is actually going on. These to the public with information. Basically, some of those employees arm's way, that as one employee receiving such a big lump sum. They threw out this information without supporting information and details. And we knew why they did this. This was all smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. But there are some questions that needs to be answered.
Definitely,
So, Mr. Bain,
definitely. Well, definitely, I would add to what you're saying. It is clearly a distraction. We don't want people being overpaid. Um, But I don't think we should allow ourselves to get distracted. If Bahamians getting some extra money, yeah, just fix that. All right, y'all are the ones paying them, so why release that they are being paid that amount of money? That's You're actually pointing a finger at yourself by exposing them. So I don't want persons getting overpaid at BPL because we got to pay for that in the long run. But at the
Yes.
same time, we need to know how much Ms. Alston is getting paid. And what we are hearing is disturbing. We need them to release their pay since they wanted to release the pay of these Bahamians. Ms. Alston needs to say what she got paid. She was born in the Bahamas and then she went to the States and didn't come back for a long time. Then Minister brought her here to work at BPL, this fake company. We're going to get into all that in a minute. This fake company. And then she didn't last long. She bought a $500,000 house, Miss Green, a $500,000 house just like that. Um, and within months, within a year and a half, less than a year and a half, just over a year, she was out of here. All right, after working to BPL. Now, if you come here from the States after being there for over 40 years and you buy a house, that means you want to move here. That means you trying to set up here and be here. But within a few months, she was out of here. Um, and she went back to the U.S. and worked a mid-level job. Not she was at the top level here, running BPL, but she went back over there and was at a mid-level job that anyone could have. And so we're concerned about what happened there and why you just come back when the PLP come now. So what was the situation? What happened? We need to know. We need our Freedom of Information Act, and we need a commission of inquiry on BPL because of all the scandals over the years. We'll get to that in a minute. But not only is she someone, we need to know how much she is getting paid before you touch our Bahamians. I need to know what the foreigners working there are getting paid. There are foreigners screen so much money that is mind bending the amount of money that they are making in this country. There are persons making anywhere from $350 an hour to $850 an hour. And these people are working 12 hours a day. Do you know what kind of money that is? That is hundreds of thousands of dollars per month. And if that is not correct, just like they release the documents of some Bahamians who are working overtime, because obviously, if the place is falling apart, the electricity keeps going out. When electricity goes out, what has happened? The workers have to come out and work. They can't go home because guess what? You want your light back on right away, right? So obviously they're going to work overtime. Now I'm not justifying anyone or saying that anyone was right or wrong, et cetera, et cetera. But obviously I know overtime is going to be worked when lights go off. And so now, even though that overtime, you have to work a lot of hours to justify that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, we know overtime has to be worked. But when you have foreigners in our country, Miss Green, in our country, and this is what caused the Burma Road riots when Bahamians realized how much the foreigners was getting paid. We'll let you underpay us, but when we figure out you paying someone, we don't like getting swing. So when we figure out that you are paying someone else more than you paying us, you have a problem with Bahamians. I'm telling you. And so today I want all Bahamians to understand that there are persons, including one gentleman, uh, what's his name? Kevin Essler, I think his name is. Kevin Essler. Kevin Essler comes here, he's working here, he gets all kinds of perks to based on the calculations of the workers and the union, they feel that this man is making per month what they are complaining about is being made per year. So that is shocking to some Bahamians. How do you feel about foreigners getting paid more than Bahamians but they could expose the Bahamians and not the foreigner, Miss Green. Miss Green, you there? I think I lost you for a sec. Are you there now? Miss Green, are you there? I think we can't hear us. She can't. Maybe I can knock her off and then bring her back on so that we could
Okay,
get
I can
sound back.
you know
Oh, you can hear me now? Okay,
now.
perfect. I was just making an illustration of this Kevin Essler person and how much money he is making. They're saying he's getting $350 an hour, and they can confirm that or not. And he's working 12-hour days, of course, because of what is going on in the situation. And so he's cashing in what they said that is being made a year by our Bahamians. How do you feel about that?
Have we have engineers, Bahamian engineers in this country that work for BPL. And understand that they are not that has to come into the country. The government or BPL is paying perks. They're paying all kind of other additional bills concerning the foreign engineer. How do I feel about it? I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. And I think that's something that needs to be looked at. I'm not saying that we don't need it. No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking about what level, what is, because I understand when some of them come in, you have the same, still show them the way, show them around. Some who are even more qualified. Some of these engineers that in are being different ways how to do things that in the site. I don't think it's fair to our Bahamian engineers, our employees that are for working
Okay, your
that are
internet
coming in.
is
It is
yeah, your
not
internet is kind
right.
of weak.
And I hope one day that can
Yeah, your internet is going in and out. I don't know if that's my internet hearing you or if it's broadcasting like that. But you're breaking up on that end. We sound like a WhatsApp video call. But I agree with every word that I could hear you say. Um, Based on what they're alleging that he makes $350 per hour times 12 hours. That's 40. That's over $4,200 a day. That's $130,000 plus per month. That's $1.5 million per year. We need to know what the numbers are because you can't be bringing in people to do what Bahamians can do and then chastising Bahamians who are here and working hard. Again, I don't want nobody uh, uh, robbing BPL and making more money than they should make, but we need to deal with the real issue. And that is, we need to know what these executives are making. Why is that hidden? And if you see the need to hide your pay and your salary, and again, I have nothing against this gentleman. This gentleman came to our country, he came to our country to help out in whatever way he can and to make some money. And that's what people do. They come to make money. So I have no issue with him. I'm not saying he got to go or whatever, but I'm just curious as to why. I'm curious as to why they are attacking Bahamians. One, two, and if you feel that there's something wrong with their pay, why are you paying them that? What kind of craziness is that? Ms. Green, that's like I hire you, I decide to pay you $1,000 a week, and then I say you shouldn't get $1,000 a week when that was the agreement. I don't understand the thinking there, but that's stupid. But when you add the
you're
perks and everything else go ahead, go ahead.
no, I was saying you're still breaking up. So um I know you asked a question.
Oh, that means the
A
two of us
question.
breaking up.
Yeah, you're still breaking up.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mr.
I
Bean.
actually
So,
think,
yeah, BPL sound is complaining based on what they release. But the thing about it is they signed an industrial agreement. They signed the industrial agreement. And the industrial agreement itself says overtime outside of emergencies must be planned and approved by management in advance, right? This is what they signed off. So at the end of the day, an employee cannot simply wake up one morning and decide to work for 20 hours and then pay themselves. Management is involved. Management is involved.
yeah, I agree 100%. And listen, we have dossiers on right now on Ms. Alston and other persons who are executives, etc. I'm not going to go deep into all of that today because it's curious um, the amount of money they are making, and we are suffering for it when we go and pay our bills. It's exorbitant. So if you are paying $20 million in overtime, you should be fired. First and foremost, Ms. Alston and no one else running those companies deserve their job. They are failing. And so if a basketball team is losing, the coach gets fired, the general manager gets fired, or the president gets fired. People start getting fired, players start getting removed. We're not playing dollhouse here. This is people's lives. This is our power grid, for Christ's sake. If you cannot fix it, then you're fired. As simple as that. The coach comes in. No one want to hear what the previous coach was doing, how he didn't do things right, and what he did and what he didn't do. We don't want to hear about the previous coach. We want to know what you could do. You're not getting it together. You're still losing. You're fired. Next. And that's what needs to happen. We need real strong leadership in this country, not corrupt leadership. And so, if you can't get the grid together, then you have to be removed. You have to be fired. All right, you have to be fired. So that's the first thing, and so we need to get on that now, Ms. Green. I want to illustrate, and then we're going to talk about who owns Bahama Grid Company at the end. But I want to illustrate how we get in swing this whole time. They don't want you all have have the conversation about how our power grid is failing, why it's failing, and how it's so expensive. And it's expensive because the people you all keep voting for is who is benefiting from it. All right? They are raping and robbing y'all, and y'all still shaking pom poms for them. Y'all still in love with y'all abusers. Stockholm syndrome. And maybe some people don't know. So we're going to educate them about that today, Miss Green. But first, I want you to understand the history of BPL and why you're hearing all these different company names. And that's how they hide things. When I was doing the expose on Sabas, that's when people saw how they use companies and trusts and all these other stuff to hide what they're doing. And Sabas never thought that I would, he should know me, but he never thought that I would have the ability to uncover all that they were doing. And that's why he put that $1 million challenge out to me and never paid me. It's $5 million and never paid me. And of course, Leslie Miller hasn't paid me yet either, Miss Green. But we could deal with that Savas one first. All right, he owes me, so I don't know. Maybe you can go collect that for me, because I know you use the lioness. So, but someone got to go get that, so we could help out the Bahamian people. But this is how it works, Miss Green. BEC was formed, and I've shown on the law on this show before, and it'll take more time if I go through every document, right? But BEC was formed, and in the law, it said that BEC could never be sold. You cannot sell BEC. That's the law. And so, because they were stuck to the point where they cannot sell BEC, they decided to form another company and have that company called BPL and use that company to do their darkness. And they use BPL to then start to split BEC and all of its assets apart. So it's like this. You can have, let's say there's a restaurant that your father leaves for you, but he says in this will, you could have the restaurant, but you could never sell it. Then what you do is you say, okay, Dad said I can't sell it, but what I'll do is I'll issue out everything in this restaurant that makes money. So the kitchen, I'll let someone have the kitchen, and they can make money from the kitchen. I will the valet parking. I'll have someone do the valet parking, and that's separate, and I benefit from that on the side. The waiters who are distributing the food, I'll have a waiter system and call it distribution and transmission of food, and let them distribute, transmit, and distribute the food. And so what you do is you break up every part. If you have a gift shop in there, you have the gift shop, and you keep you keep the restaurant, Daddy's restaurant, but everything that makes money in the restaurant, you start to sell them off or lease them off. That's what they are doing with BPL. That's with BEC. And that's why BPL was formed. And now what do you see happening? And it started to happen secretly, and they didn't tell y'all. They brought in other companies, including Focal, to start generating electricity and selling that electricity generated in our facility, selling that to us. So they created a middleman, and so the middleman uh, is now generating electricity at our facility and selling us electricity. There is no way on God's green earth that you benefit from having a middleman. That's the first reason our BPL bills are so high, Miss Green. Step one. And so the middleman is the problem. Focal and Watsilla and other persons were brought in as middlemen. They push out Watsilla. Why? So Focal could have more say. Who owns Focal? Focal is owned by persons with interest in the FNM and the PLP. It's not just Frankie Wilson. It's both sides. And when you see these companies and you see people like Frankie Wilson, Tommy Turnquest, or Brent Simmons and them on it, they're not the real people. They're just the face of their party to make sure that money is funneled into their party. They're running this country like a mafia where the families get a piece of the pie. And so Frankie is doing the bidding at the party, and it's split out to the party. And the F&M is supposed to get a piece of that also. All right. And the only time you see them clash is if one of them try to do something without the other one. All right. Like when they tried to sell BTC before, and the F&M didn't get their piece. So Ingham say, yeah, we taking it back. You all thought y'all was slick. Forming this company called Blue Water. No, you all know you all supposed to make sure we get a piece. So Ingram took it back when he got in, because they're supposed to share in the profits of everything that happens. That's the mafia way this country is run right now. And so um, that's what's happening. So the reason we keep going with Focal is because the F&M and PLP is making money by selling oil to BPL, and now they're making money by using that same oil to generate the electricity in our facility and then sell it to BPL, man. In what world does this make sense? And that's why your electricity bill is so high. But it gets worse, Miss Green. But before we go there, how do you feel about what I just said just now with the middleman and that kind of stuff?
Um, like you said, Mr. Bean, you can never make money with the middleman. But the crazy part about it is, BPL is one of our main assets, our national asset. And as we can see, the government continues to sell away Bahamian asset. And that's something that I think all Bahamians should have a problem with. We continue sitting down while we put these people in power to govern in the best interests of the Bahamian people, to protect our assets. And not only that, they should be able to build on top of our asset, invest on top of our asset. Both government, both administration have failed to take us forward. All of our country assets are disappearing right before our eyes, falling into different ownership. That does not work. It does not work. Now, In the New Bahamas, this is a no-no. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Bean, I am ready to get over to the New Bahamas. So it's time for these old dinosaurs to become prehistoric, because right now
Yes.
they're keeping us back. But here's
Yes.
the thing. You have, like you said, we have BPL, then you have the Bahamas Grid Company. So when the lights go off, Mr. Bain, and we do have to pay the employees for overtime to do the work that is necessary to get us functioning again. Who is paying the employees? Is it Bahamas Grid Company? Is it BPL? How does this work?
It
I don't
is
want.
so complicated. I'm going to get into it piece by piece. But BPL is paying $8 million a year just to they're paying that to the Bahamas Grid Company so that Bahamas Grid Company uh, is able to operate. Now, BPL used to pay $10 million a year for all their staff, the line staff, everyone. But Bahamas Grid Company only deals with transmission and distribution. Transmission is the big lines that you see, um, uh, those big, high silver, high tension wires, right? That's transmission. They transmit it over long distance. And distribution is the lampposts, the wooden lampposts, the smaller, low voltage ones. That's the distribution. They distribute it to your houses. So all their purposes right now is transmission and distribution. I don't even know where the money is in that. That don't even make sense. But they're finding a way to suck money out of everything. And so they're paying $8 million a month to Bahamas Grid Company, and I can't wait to talk about who owns that. For them to do just that one purpose. It makes no sense. And so they still gotta pay all their staff, all right, the 10 million, and then they gotta pay the 8 million for Bahamas Grid Company to do what they're doing. So now it now doubled the cost. Plus you have overtime. All right, it's ridiculous. And so Bahamas Grid Company, when the lights went off in the south the other day, it was off for hours. I think till the next day probably, because they couldn't assemble the Bahamas Grid Company team together. All right.
Mr. Bean, this is separate from the BPL team.
Yes.
Okay, so if they could not assemble the the Bahamas Grid team, the BPL team, of course, had to be on. They still had to be on the field to work to help restore power. So,
Hmm.
are we paying two separate overtime? That's why I'm saying I don't understand this. Are we
It's
paying?
even BPL is confused about who is getting paid for what. BPL is paying Bahamas Grid Company staff for certain things. They are. It's ridiculous. BPL was paying Wärtsilä staff for certain things. It's ridiculous. How could
So
they be so?
so
Yeah, I know
BPL.
it's confusing, but it's a whole conundrum. Uh, Wärtsilä, sorry, not Wärtsilä. Persons, Focal, etc. They have they're generating energy in our facility. If the generator has issues, BPL staff got to deal with that, even though we paying them to generate it.
So
It's
that's a lot of money coming out of BPL. If you sold a portion of BPL to deal with a certain situation, the company that you sold it to, why do you have to still pay them to run the portion of what you sold? This doesn't make sense. And yet we are here mirroring down on employees. We're here crucifying employees, and we're not looking at the bigger picture. We need to take our energy and focus back on the government and BPL, because the government is responsible for BPL. So Jobet Colby Davis needs to come and step forward. Okay, I understand that this smoke and mirror, this boon they threw out, to the Bahamian people for them to fight each other over. No, we need to deal with management. We need to deal with leadership. Bahamians, y'all need to deal with leadership.
Yes.
Leadership. We
Yes.
paying these people out of our treasury. Kyle Wilson, that's his name.
Yes.
He is
Yeah.
the last person should be on our mind right now, because even if we replace him, even if he was to be removed, the problem would still be there.
Yes. And so we're going to talk about who owns Pike and why Pike left and all of this kind of stuff. We could break all that down in a second. But I just wanted to give people the background. And there's always been a lot of corruption. Remember, Fred Ramsey from the F&M got locked up for taking the bribe to buy these specific generators. There's a lot of corruption as it relates to BPL, and the oil situation is bad. So I wanted to explain to you all exactly how the oil situation works, and then we're going to go to NIB, and that's that. Well, yeah, that is NIB. Let's go to the oil situation, Miss Green, because I want everyone to understand how y'all paying for the same bill over and over and over again. I'm putting a graphic on the screen. I want you to a second. I'm going to break down for you this, and then I'm going to show you some documentation. We're going to go through that because I want my Bahamian people to understand what's happening. We're going to open your eyes today. I don't see it on the screen yet, so it's okay. The thing is there now. Ladies and gentlemen, the graphic you are seeing on the screen is what's really happening. So first, I'll show you and then I'll explain it later. First of all, I'll put Miss Green backstage. All right, the graphic. Oh, there. The graphic that you're seeing is showing you one NIB funds. That's the cash cow. That's step number one. That's on the far left side of me. Step number one: NIB funds. NIB funds is given as investment to Focal millions of dollars, millions, sometimes 4 million, sometimes 3 million, sometimes 5 million, whatever. Millions of dollars is given to Focal that Focal uses to buy fuel, the same fuel from Sun Oil. So I want you to see that. Step one, we pay for the fuel because our NIB money, that's money that comes out of me and your salary. That's our money that comes out of our salary. That's for our pension. It's given to Focal. So that's us paying for the oil once. You'll keep record. So us paying for oil, we give Focal the money to buy oil. Focal then buys the oil from Sunwest, so we have the oil. All right. So that's one time we bought the oil. Also, BPL has to buy that oil from Focal. And so NIB lends BPL the money to buy the fuel from Focal. So we paid for that oil again by giving the money to BPL. So that oil is bought twice. Because instead of BPL just buying from Shell, they get into a middleman. So Focal bought the oil with our money, and then BPL buys the money from Focal with our money. You see it? So that's twice we bought it. Then what happens? Then we get a bill and we pay for the same thing again because we pay for our energy. That's 3 times. And then they charge us a fuel surcharge to pay back the loans that was used to buy the oil. A fuel surcharge has nothing to do with the price of fuel. A quick Google will show you that the fuel surcharge was introduced by Perry Christie, saying that that's to pay the legacy debt. You always hear them talk about legacy debt. That's what they're talking about. All right? And so that's 4 times we are paying for the same thing. So the fuel surcharge goes to BPL and Focal, and we get nothing. And so NIB ends up paying off BPL's loans, the loan from them, that we didn't pay for. NIB end up paying off their loans sometimes, or loans is just roll over, and so we get nothing for it. So we didn't pay 4 times, and then sometimes we pay again when NIB pays for loans. Do y'all see what is happening here? We are paying for the same thing over and repeatedly. That's why your light bill is high. And Focal is owned by PLPs and F&Ms. And that's why your light bill is high. You get it? We'll share this on social media so you could kind of get an idea of what's going on. Because y'all getting swing. Now, I think it's time to go through some documents so y'all could actually see this for yourself. Because some people will say, Ms. Green, some people will say that, oh, show it. I saw on social media, people say, oh, show it, show the proof, et cetera, et cetera. We never talk without proof. Anything we say, we can prove. I think that should be our reputation by now. And so, Ms. Green, we got to take them, we got to do a little Bible study, and we have to take them through the documents from NIB. So you could see exactly how you been getting swing. All right. How far back should we go? Let's start right from, I can start from 2019. How about that? Let's start from 2019. I'm gonna pull the books from 2019 so y'all could see some stuff, and then we could come up because every year is the same thing. But what happened? They stopped declaring after 2022 because they don't want you to see. All right. They started hiding it. All right. But let's go, Miss Green, and let's teach them. Let me make sure that they'll be able to see us once we get on. Hold on. No, that ain't gonna work. All right, let's see how it works. So let's teach them by having a little Bible study. All right, here we go. Okay, all right, the document is 2 hour. All right, so over there. So I'll just make it big so everyone can see it properly. All right, Miss Green. All right. So they can see you very well. They can see me. Perfect. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the NIB's report. I want you to show you what has been happening for a very long time. This has been happening from time immemorial. But I'm just pulling this up so you can see exactly what's going on. This is their report. They're supposed to legally give a report, even though they stopped giving these reports. And I want to take you straight to something so you could see something. All right. The first thing I'm going to take you to is Focal. Let me just do a Control F and take you straight to Focal. Focal is Freeport Oil. I'm just going to do a search. Just take you straight there. Bam. So this is monies given to Freeport Oil. So as you can see here, let me get to what year this is. Let me make this as big as possible. As you can see here, this year, Freeport Oil got $4 million. That's 2018. This year, they got 3.9, might as well say 4 again, just under $4 million. All right. And so they got this to be able to do what they want. So you go buy your oil and sell it to us. And so this is the proof that they have been
You
giving
said
money
4
to.
million?
Yeah, 2018 was four million 74,000, something like that. It was 3,984,000 in 2019. All right, and so that's what it is
I don't see 3 million. Where you seeing that?
right here. You see that? Oh, you don't understand. All right, so when they do accounting, they
Okay,
do
I
it
see
in
it.
thousands. So you add
I
three
see
zeros to whatever number you see.
it. Okay, I see it.
All right, so here it says expressed in thousands. So accountants know that. I should have said that clear to the whole Bahamas public watching. Sorry about that. Expressed in thousands of Bahamian dollars. That means you add
Okay.
3 zeros to any number that you see. All right. So this right here that looks like 3,900, that's actually
3
3.9 million. That's to
billion.
make it cleaner and easier to display when you're dealing with plenty numbers. That's what they do. So this 64 is actually 64 million. You just add three zeros. All
Okay.
right. So that's how it works. So thank you for that, Miss Green. I appreciate that. So this is focal, and that's what they are getting. We're getting, all right, from us to be able to invest in their oil. All right. And so go to another spot. And so as you can see here, there's another investment here of 4.3 million. There's another one, and 4.365 million again over here. So in this one period, and again, we're not accountants, me nor Ms. Green. We're doing this based on numbers that is publicly displayed out there. And so if they want us to understand, they can come and make us understand it better. But I saw again 3.9 million plus 4.3 million. So what is that? That's basically over $8 million, based on my layman eyes, that was given to them to be able to do what they want with it. And so that's our money going to them. This is the proof. All right. And so now let's go to BPL. And so that's money from Focal. All right. That's money from NIB going to Focal. Now let's go to BPL on this particular year. Um, just going to pull that up. All right. So this is BPL. Jesus. Y'all see this? This line right here. Y'all see that? 25.888 million. The year before it was 25.884 million. $25.88 million that went from NIB to BPL. That's
Which year this
our money.
was? This
Say again?
27. Which year is this?
This 2019, the first number, and the year before that, it was 2018. So
Okay.
25.888 is million is 2019.
And this went to
2018.
purchase, and this went to purchase the oil.
Well, this was given to BPL, and that's what they mostly use their money on because they were spending $30 million a month on oil, on fuel, and the 10 million was for operations. All right, so the money would go to fuel. So here we gave them 25. In fact, we gave them 50 million last year. Just so you all know, a loan went to them unauthorized, $50 million last year. We can talk about our sovereign wealth fund and all that, and when we talk about
This
who wants this thing.
this loan that they got last year, it came from NIB also.
They're not really disclosing. We see that the money from the National Investment Fund disappeared. That's the 265 million plus the 200 million plus the 700 million just disappeared. All right. So it's either NIB or it's the National Investment Fund that disappeared, and they will not say where the money gone. They
Isn't that
just
criminal?
they robbing us, yeah. But who will lock them up?
What
And
you mean
so
who
I
locked
wanted
them up? The opposition?
the opposition has the power to do so, but they're not going to do so. Remember, Focal is FNM and PLP. You will never see the FNM push for a commission of inquiry on BPL. It will never happen. They'll say it now, but they ain't gonna push for it. Like how Pinlin them pushed for a commission of inquiry when the UBP was in power, and there was one, and how back in the day, Pinlin was forced to do a commission of inquiry while he
Lincoln,
was in power.
I don't want to throw you off and distract you, leader. I don't want to throw you off and distract you, right? But this is a lot of money unaccounted for. No
Oh, just getting
reason.
started.
This is a lot of money that is not accounted for. And that is why I am saying the bone that they threw out to distract us is shielding and shielding us or shielding them for what is really going on. And I'm not condoning any form of corruption, theft, or fraud. But what I'm trying to say is we really need to clamp down on this because it seems like the opposition isn't doing or saying anything about it. Well, we don't want them to say anything about it. We want them to do about it. to be
Yeah.
about it.
So the FNM will come and ask questions and say, we're asking questions. Where did the money from the National Investment Fund go? Where did 65 million go? You have the powers of the PAC. Every dollar that the government touches is accountable to the PAC. And you have the authority to subpoena anyone, to subpoena any documents, bank accounts, whatever you need to in order to reveal what happens. That's the law. But of course, they're going to pretend like, oh, we don't have that power. And if you believe that they remove the money from the National Investment Fund illegally, then you do a judicial review, sue the government, and then the
Yes.
courts will say, hey, that money was not supposed to be moved, put it back. And the courts will subpoena that money and have it go from whatever bank account it's in and have it transferred immediately to our consolidated fund. That can be done. But Pintard will not do that because all of them are in this together. So this is BPL. This is just one. BPL money that went from BPL. But I want you to notice something else on here. NIB money going to other things too, you know. You see this one up here to the top? This is the Bahamas Mortgage Corporation. All right, that's $95 million to the Mortgage Corporation. That's money that goes to our homes and them to build them houses. So they take our crown land. This is a little side note. They take our crown land and they put one shabby house on it, and then they get the money directly from the mortgage corporation. Now we can pay that back. Just how we paying back for whatever BPL do, we paying that back. You see? So again, everything they get rich off, it comes from us. All right. So that they take $95 million of our money, because that's our money in the mortgage corporation. That's our money. That's our taxpayer money. And so they take our money and use it to make money by selling us our crown land and putting a shabby house on it. So they
So
get our
what you're
crown
telling
land
me,
and our money.
so what you're telling me is that now I'm going to say this, so we need to be sure this is correct. If I am wrong, I stand to be corrected. So what you're saying is, amongst the fact that they're taking NIB money and using it for BPL, they're also sending it to a mortgage corporation for our crown land that we already own to build government homes on it with our money that we still have to go and pay for.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. They are pumping our money into ways for them to make money off of our money. That's what they're doing. All
Is this
right.
one of the reasons why it is so difficult for our seniors and our pensioners, people who have retired, to receive what they should be receiving after putting in money
Yes.
all these years? Is this
Yes.
some
It's
of
one
the
of the
reasons?
reasons.
Wow, is this the
And this
reason
is
why? Go ahead. Sorry.
this the reason also why NIB is going to increase every 2 years until it reaches the 50% of our 25% of our salary. Every 2 years, it's going to increase until 25% of our salary is coming out, so they can continue to take our NIB money and put it in their own companies and make money from us and sell stuff to us that we already bought because we the conks. So instead of empowering Bahamians, this is what they doing and this is what people vote for. And then they say, oh, your party ain't got no money. This party over here got the money. That's your money they stole. And that's what Bahamians got to wake up and realize. And it's our job, Ms. Green, to educate the Bahamian public on this. So that even if this generation is too foolish, that they want to stay slaves and not be empowered, that maybe some young person watching this, it could touch their spirit and they could realize that, boy, there was an organization that was telling us that we could be greater than we are.
Bahamians, my brothers and sisters, my Bahamians, listen to me. The government is treating your national insurance money as though it is their personal piggy bank. Because, like leader said, they are making money. They are making money off of our money. This money is being deducted from your salaries to provide you with pension, maternity benefits, sickness, unemployment assistance, and financial security, especially when we can no longer work. NIB funds are supposed to be carefully managed and invested. If you have all of this money, invest it for the benefit of us, the contributors, not to use to finance any government project or cover government shortfall. No, why are we accepting that? If the government borrowed from NIB, the Bahamian people deserve to know exactly how much was borrowed, what it was used for, and the interest rate that they are going to repay our money is back to our accounts. We need to stop playing politics in this country. We need to stop playing with our retirement money. That's our financial security. That's coming out of your check. NIB does not belong to the government, it belongs to the contributors. And every single dollar must be protected and accounted for according to the law.
Yes.
According to the law, we demand audited facts. Y'all better get about the business of your country and stop looking at the small fries when the government throw boons. Okay, then.
Let's continue in the same document. Let's continue Bahamas Power and Light. This is a further breakdown of that 2588 on how it's given to Bahamas Power and Light. And also here you can see one of the examples of, because we can't go to every year, but this one examples of what they do. All right. So loan to the Bahamas government, for example, because NIB has been given loans to the Bahamas government. And so one of those items you would have seen that. Um, and this is one example of what they've been doing. So on the screen here, you can see BPL. During August 2009, the fund participated in a medium term U.S. loan facility provided to the then Bahamas Electric Corporation, BEC, now Bahamas Power and Light Limited, to refinance its existing debt obligations. The loan bears interest at US dollars, 3 month LIBOR plus 4.25%, with principal and interest payable quarterly. The loan, after a series of extensions from 2012, matured and was repaid in December 2010. The loan was guaranteed by the Bahamas government and was in the
December 2019.
19. Thank you. It was paid by the Bahamas government and was in default at 2018 as no repayments were made. So they got this loan. It was guaranteed by the Bahamas government. It wasn't paid. And then guess what they did? Took NIB money to pay it. That's what this says. All right. They
They
also,
owe the people a lot of money.
yes, and also you can see um, here money was given to water and sewage. Again, it's 10 million. It looks like 10,000, but it's 10 million, 5 million here to water and sewage. So they're taking our money from NIB, this Bahamas Development Bank, same thing. And so they're taking our money and just jacking it up. And let's go to more areas. So this is more money. So this is more money going out. So you can see Mortgage Corporation. Look at this.
NIB, I think NIB is the National Bahamian Bank. Can you imagine, Mr. Bain, if that money was managed and invested properly? I mean, that's billions of
It
dollars.
is. It is. So I want you to see this one here. What they do with the NIB money is they buy, and I know we're mixing up this conversation with BPL and NIB, but I want you to see what's going on. Bahamas government registers stocks. So the Bahamas government just offers stocks, and then NIB will just buy it, and then the government just holding it. So that's a way you just take money from NIB that you don't really have to give back. You just keep rolling it over. So
Say that again. Sorry.
so
That
this is
difference.
NIB registered stock. Sorry, this is government registered stock that NIB buys from the government. So that's a way to get cash from from NIB. Just write them something and say, okay, you have registered stock with the government and you holding a piece of paper. And that piece of paper ain't worth nothing because you keep rolling it over forever. And you just took money legally from NIB. Look at how much money on a yearly basis was being taken. Here, this is 2018, uh, uh, 573 uh, million. That's the fair value. Let me look at the carrying value, small value. 526 million here and 544 million here in 2019. That's over half a billion dollars. All right, that money just taken from NIB and just dumped into US. So just to take money legally from NIB. and Bahamians don't know that this is going on. All right. Um, as you can see here, they take government US dollar notes, Bahamian dollar, and that's 30 million. That's $30 million. All right, that they just take and give them some notes. Here, $37 million from NIB just for the Bahamas Development Bank. Just take it. All right. Um, Loans to Bahamas government entity in that year, $27 million. The year before it was $28 million, as you can see. I hope people can see this clearly. They just raping NIB. All right. Let's keep going. Let me show you all some more. So again, the money is taken from NIB to give to Focal. The money is taken from NIB to give to Bahamas Power and Light. See, there's another figure here. There's more money here. So it's Bahamas Power and Light Company. This they call these bonds now. It's different than the other figure we saw with the 25,888. This is $26 million. So you saw the 25 million and it's 26 million, so that's 51 million. Or 52 if you really add it up carefully. $1 million in that year that just was raped from us. Okay? So they are just taking this and using this as a piggy bank. It's another figure there. Let's go some more. That's the previous figure. Okay. Farmers Power and Light. Now, I want y'all to see something else while we're here. I'm going to do a little search. Let me just pull up the.
Our opinion.
Okay. I want you to see this right here. This is the biggest investment in NIB. It's Commonwealth Brewery. While we're here, we'll just talk about this. In 2018, Commonwealth Brewery got $33.3 million from INIB. The liquor company, Miss Green. NIB is supposed to be about health and preserving our health. But their biggest investment in the world is in the Commonwealth Brewery Liquor Company because they own that. And in 2019, the next year, it was $23 million. In other years, it'll be 25 million, 26 million. If you go from year to year, you will see they taking our money to buy the liquor to sell to us. They taking our NIB money to make liquor to sell to us. Oh boy. And we ain't getting nothing for that. We gotta change the system, y'all. And I can go from, because of time, I won't go, but I can go from year to year and you'll see the same thing over and over. 2020, 2021, 2022, over and over. I have all the documents here, but I think for time, I think you get the gist instead of me having to go through all of these. Ms. Green, what you think about what you just saw?
Um, I was thinking, sitting here thinking about the employees, the Bahamians standing up on their feet working in those hotels. And they're having double deductions out of their salaries for NIB. The men on the construction site, deductions. Everybody is receiving deductions out of their salary in hopes that, in the event the day comes, you have women leaving for maternity leave, senior citizens are retiring, God forbid you fall ill. It's heavy. It's really heavy.
Yeah,
And I hope we get to the day where Bahamians, accept that, what, we can't take this no more. Enough is enough.
yeah.
Enough is enough.
Now let's quickly
This,
go through, for the sake of time, because we want to get some calls before we go. Um, let's quickly go through who owns Bahamas Grid Company. I think everyone should understand and know by now if they've been watching the trend. But I just wanted Bahamians to think about it so that you can know who is benefiting from your suffering. And if you want to keep suffering, then you just keep suffering. All right. But I just want you to know in your suffering, I want you to have knowledge of why you're suffering. All right. But I want you to take your suffering for granted. So, first and foremost, I'm going to ask you all a quick question. Let me pull this up so y'all can see it. This is a who is question. Let me see all the smart people. All right. I know who is the. Okay, it isn't up yet. I thought it was up. Okay, now it's up. Who is the man in the glasses in this picture? Anyone know the man? Who's the man in glasses in uh, picture? Anyone? Let me see. Let me see if people smart. The man in the glasses and the white shirt. Who's that man? Who's that man? All right. It's just a little delay, so I'll wait to start seeing your answers. Who's the man in the white shirt and the glasses? Okay, I'll come on. Okay. Someone say Tommy T. All right. Tommy T. Okay, now it's coming true. Tommy T is what? He's F&M. He represents the interests of the F&M. All right. So that's the F&M man on the board to make sure that whatever business, the F&M has a stake in it. Who is the man on the left with the gray suit on and the white shirt? Who is that man? All right. Let me know who that man is. The man in the gray suit. The man in the gray suit on the right hand side. Who is that man? Who is that man? All right. The Tommy D answer is still coming in. Who's the man on the other side? The black man with the gray suit on. Who is that? Okay, Frankie Wilson, and he is the PLP. So he represents the PLP interests in all of these companies. All right. Now the man in the middle is their business partner at Cotton Bay, the hotel resort. Who is he? Who is he? Pike. Yes, that's Pike. And so Tommy T and Frankie Wilson, partner, happen to be given basically BPL. How is that possible? The, I mean, it's clear to see what is going on in this country, but we refuse.
They sat down, Lincoln, they sat down in a room and they examined all of the assets of this country, of the Bahamian people. You have BPL, water and sewage, our telecommunications, even our our water. But they looked at BPL and NIB and they said, these two right here, we gonna make this work. These two right here, and as you can see, like you said, you have Tommy Turnquest who represents the F&M interest, and then you have Frankie Wilson who represents
PLP.
the PLB
Yeah.
interest. So that means, my fellow Bahamians, no matter what you say, no matter who comes in, like we've been telling you from the day we started, the PLP and the F&M are partners in this country. That is why no matter who comes in, nothing changes.
Yes. Now, let me tell everyone what happened. Because, Pike is gone. And there's some people saying, oh, because someone from Pike got shot, that's why they left and all that. I don't think a whole company could throw away 20 or 25-year deal to make free money because one person got shot. And, my sympathies to that person and their family. I'm not trying to belittle what happened to them. It should not have happened. And I hope justice prevails in that. But I don't think that's why. Uh, Pike, we did a live before where we showed Pike's income and that they weren't a big company in the US. They were just a regular company. BPL was making almost much as them, and so it's like, why are we selling to them? Um, and so they were able to be given all of our assets. All right, given our assets, all the trucks, the lines, everything. It was given to them in this crazy deal talking about uh, uh, this transmission and distribution. It was garbage. and it was given to them, and BPL was basically given to them, and the value of BPL, and that raised the value of their company. All right, Pike's value in the U.S. was raised because of that. And so once their company's value was raised, I mean, the sky is the limit. What do you think would happen there? All right. Um, Once the value of their company is raised, they can sell it. So guess what? That small distribution transmission company, because of the BPL deal, their value was raised. And let me show you how much they sold for. Y'all sitting down? I want to make sure this this is a company they gave BPL to, and all of a sudden the company immediately was sold, and there it is, Miss Green. Pike acquired by new private equity firms for $5 billion. They got our assets. It increased their value, and they talking in the story about the Bahamas side of it and all that. Um, and they were able to sell for $5 billion. So once they didn't sell it, what they stay in here for? They sold Pike. Pike still have a deal with them. But listen, Pike, Eric Pike, he jumped off the board quickly. He left and he gone. They pack up and gone. Didn't get what they come for. This is how they have us as the Kongs. And they did not announce this in the Bahamas. You see what the date on this is? Um, November 17, 2025. This the end of last year. This story came out. Did y'all see them talking about this in the house? Did y'all see them saying anything about this? Now they did do a news story, but you know what? This Jack would have been inside of the paper. But look, see here, Pike deal marred in confusion. Pike deal marred in confusion because no one know what the hell is going on, who own what this mean. And so I think it was what's the name? Candia Dames did the story. Yeah, Candia Dames, the editor, did this story. Let's look at the story. Let's look at it. Amid confusion that arose after an announcement this week that American Eric Pike is out as chairman of the company formed to modernize the electricity transmission and distribution system in New Providence, the government of the Bahamas said on Wednesday the ownership structure of the transmission distribution network remains unchanged. That's what the government say after it happened. They was lying, presumably confirming that Pike's company still has a majority ownership of T&D assets, meaning our transmission distribution assets, what we gave to them. Pike's country, Pike's Corporation's Bahamian subsidiary Island Grid Solutions is a majority shareholder in Bahamas Grid Company, which the Davis administration previously announced took ownership of the systems from Bahamas Power and Light. How do you just take ownership of what's ours? How do you just do that? Pike's exit surprised observers as the government had announced that it had a 25-year agreement with Pike Corporation, and Island Grid was in as the transmission and distribution manager for the long haul. That's what the government say. 25 years. Who runs from a 25-year deal? Under a joint venture partnership, the government announced in 2024 that it owns 40% of the shares in the special purpose vehicle called Bahamas Grid Company, and Island Grid Solution owns 60%. There's all kind of confusion. All right. The agreement, which the Davis administration finally made public in February 2026, after growing demand for transparency, revealed that in consideration of its implementation of the upgrade of the T&D network and the ongoing management of the transmission and distribution system, Island Grid Solutions shall receive certain fees from Bahamas Grid Company, including a monthly management fee. Well, what she didn't say is that monthly management fee is $8 million plus other expenses. That's just the management fee. The arrangement did not contemplate Island Grid's early departure as T&D manager. So they had PPL, which is a middleman. They have Bahamas Grid Company, which is a middleman, and then Island Grid Solutions, which is the middleman for them, running this whole thing. And then that middleman disappear and go because what you needed them for in the first place. They got what they wanted. You see how stupid this is? It said, in fact, that for the first 5 years, commencing from the date of execution of operative agreements, the management fee shall be an amount equal to 5.8% of the T and D system revenues. What revenues goes to transmission and distribution? That makes no sense. There's no revenues from the lamp pole just being there. We don't get charged for the lamp poles, the tall lamp pole and the short lamp pole. It's a scam. Now, if energy is generated and sent out, yes, there's money from that. A fuel surcharge, I can understand that because fuel is bought. But just for the lamppost sitting there, you making money from that? That's a scam. Oh, well, we already have distribution, we're making money there. We already selling them the oil, we're making money there. Let's just tell them they got to pay for the lamppost now and the wire because Bahamas ain't gonna say nothing. They're just going to suck it up and take it. Given this, there are questions as to exactly why Island Grid is no longer the T&D manager as early in this agreement and whether it is in fact currently owner of the assets. Bahamas Grid Company announced Pike's departure as chairman on Monday and transition to all Bahamian-led operating model. And you see, that's what they try to do. They try to find some positive way to push it out there to make you agree to want to do it. Oh, this is going to be all Bahamian. No, that wasn't what your intention was. The people made their money and break off running. And you know, with Tommy and your boy standing there, they had to have gotten a piece of the pie. Y'all better wake up. So that takes us to have to look at Bahamas Grid Company. To have to understand who is Bahamas Grid Company. We want to know who that is. And so let's pull up the documents to see who Bahamas Grid Company is. Because if we could figure out who that is, we could figure out where this money going, man. So let's pull that up for y'all. Who is this? Is a company that they say the government own a part and the private own a part. So it should be easy to see who this is. Because what they say, government own a part and private own a part. So let's see if that's what it actually says documentation. You think that's what it says in the documentation, Ms. Grant?
I don't know, Mr. Ben.
Well, you about to find out. Give me a sec. Let me pull this up. Okay, I'll pull up two documents as it relates to that. Let's see who the owners are because this is a government company, so this should be easy. It should say the treasurer of the Bahamas, since the government owner part. It should say that, eh? And if it's a private owner, it should say who this private owner is. All right. So that's pretty easy. Oh, let me remove this picture so we can make sure I have some good space on there. Remove this and set. Okay, there we go. Remove. Okay, you all ready? Someone say Frankie and Wilson. Okay, we shall see. We shall see.
Whilst you're looking that up, Mr. Van, okay, you found it? Okay,
It's
let's
on the
go.
screen. So the owners of Bahamas Grid Company are Blue Topaz Company Limited and White Opal Company Limited. It's green. If this is a government company, see it says here, Bahamas Grid Company, let me make it big so everyone can see. All right. It says a regular company, is a payment company, limited company. Bahamas Grid Company Limited is owned by Blue Topaz Company Limited and White Opal Company Limited. Why? Why?
So this is the Bahamian. This is one of the Bahamian assets. Sounds like it's owned by a private company. Who are those partners in that private company?
We can find out in a minute, but I wanted everyone to see that because I want y'all to see. Remember when we was doing the expose on Sabas? You saw how it worked. So this is the company search.
Shell
All right.
companies. Yep.
So let's look at this. Bahamas Grid Company Limited. It's just a company search, and is active. It's in good standing. So here it is. The agent detail, Turquoise Advisors. Turquoise Advisors. Okay, that's who set it up. So that's who set it up. Turquoise Advisors. Now look, the company shareholders are this is shareholders and the number of shares. Blue Topaz Company Limited. Number three, Bayside Executive Park, Blake Road. And White Opal Company Limited. Look at that. Hmm, that's interesting. Bahamas Power and Light. Oh, look at this. Shareholders. Y'all seeing this? Bahamas Power and Light Company Limited has shares. They didn't tell us that. They say the government. And look, Kalina has shares. Kalina, the insurance company,
Hmm.
Kalina has 3 million shares. And Bahamas Power and Light has 2 million shares. What kind of darkness is this? Okay, let's directors. Okay. Nikolai Sawyer, director. Deborah Simonet, director. Gladys Fernanda, chief financial officer. Dario McKinsey, chief executive officer, PLBs. And Nikolai Sawyer again. What kind of thing is this? Nikolai Sawyer. Well, these people again, directors. Deborah Simonet, Mai Shibata. Oh, look, Anthony Ferguson. Hmm, that's who traveling around the world with with what do you name Brave Davis. Ah, we'll get back to that.
Joseph.
Anthony Ferguson is on here twice. He's the president. Okay,
Joseph. Hi.
he's a director and he's a president. Oh, Joseph Pike, Christine
Hey.
Alston. That's the woman who making all this money. Uh, and they have her here as the director. Okay. So now do you see these names? I want you to be familiar with these names. Anthony Ferguson. Remember, Anthony Ferguson is from Colina. All right? From Colina. If the government owns this, this should be in the name of the treasurer. That is who owns government, anything that the government owns. All right? That's Anthony Farrington. Sorry about that. I misread that. And then Anthony Ferguson after that as president. He's not in there twice. I misread because the screen was a little blurry. All right? So Anthony Ferguson is there as the president. All right? So good thing I look back over that. Now, that leaves us to ask the first thing, who owns black, what the name? White Opal and
Blue
Blue
Topaz.
Topaz. When did we ever hear that company before? Well, first, before we go to when we heard that before, let's go and look and see who owns blue topaz and white opal. Because then that's going to tell us a little bit more. Because we didn't see some names, and there's some interesting names. All right. So what do we start with? Let's start with blue topaz. Let me see what we got here. All right, that's blue topaz. All right, let me close this clean. Right. Stay tuned. All right, so we got blue topaz up. Just give me one sec. Let me grab white opal so we could have that up one time. White opal, white opal. Blue topaz. Okay, so blue topaz is there. Okay, I'll come back and look for white opal. Let's look at blue topaz. All right. Well, they have the same owners of blue topaz and white opal. So I'll just show you blue topaz. Let's go. Come on. Let's open. Make sure you got it. Perfect. All right. Got it. Now, let's open this. So blue topaz and white opal. They are owned by the same persons. All right. So Miss Green, I'm gonna pull it up. You said now, right, Miss Green?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Uh, all right. So this is Blue Topaz Company Limited. They set it up as an international business company. So how an international business company owning our domestic Bahamas Grid Company? Why? So that's an international business company that's set up here in the Bahamas. Now let's see who owns that. Let's go. Let's keep going. And this was set up in 2021. All right, this company, this Blue Topaz company, and it's the same thing with for White Opal. So, company name Blue Topaz, International Business Company. Look at here. Look at who the owners are. Alicia, Alicia Curry, who works for Anthony Ferguson, and Anthony Ferguson. Wow, look at that. So, the company that has ownership of this and set up Bahamas Grid Company is owned by Anthony Ferguson. Both of those companies, Blue Topaz and White Opal, both of those companies. Jesus. Wow.
Who you fronting for, Anthony? Who are you fronting for?
Um, you will remember that I brought up these companies before, these same companies that had ownership in something else. And I think a lot of Bahamians have now forgotten that something else that they own because I know we've done so much exposes over the years that a lot of Bahamians have now forgotten the things that we have exposed over the years. Because there's so much to remember. We have White Opal there, but White Opal is the same as Blue Topaz, so we're not gonna waste time showing it because we won't open the phone lines. Here, remember carbon money. It has our carbon credit, and the money is going to the National Investment Fund. But they made the same kind of tricky deal with Carbon Management Limited to, to do whatever with our carbon credits. We don't even have about that no more. Look, blue shareholders, blue topaz, and white opal. Same thing. So the same people are connected to our carbon credits. Our National Investment Fund is connected to the same Bahamas company. You see that with your own eyes? And some people are going to say, well, show the proof, show the proof. And they'll be like, well, you didn't watch the live. You see? The same people. And again, if you look at the ownership of that who name they have this in, you'll see again, you see the same Alicia and Anthony Ferguson. All right. So I want you to understand that all of this stuff is connected, and there's a systematic rape of our country and the same people. Shares of Bahamas Grid Company was sold, and the same people, those Frankie Wilsons and Tommy Turnquest and them, is who ate up the shares. So you are suffering again. They're making the money by selling you the oil. They're making you money by generating the oh, you couldn't see this. I thought you could see. Oh, sure, shoot. Sorry about that. The screen wasn't showing. I'm gonna show it right now and make sure that y'all see the documents. I thought I had shared the screen. So sorry about that. Um, the screen used to co-pilot. You supposed to tell me it wasn't showing. Okay, here it is. Carbon Management Limited. Remember that company? There it is, right in your face. Set up by the agent is Turquoise Investors Limited. That's the agent who set it up. And owners, Blue Topaz and White Opal. One share, one share. And Blue Topaz and White Opal is, of course, owned by Anthony Ferguson and that lady. All right. And you can see, I'll just breeze through it. All right. Carbon Management Limited. So I want you all to see that. All right. So again, the same people is raping and robbing y'all, and that's what you're voting for. What you say? Oh, they got the money. They putting that money on the ground. Your money. Your money. All right. And that's how this goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, your country is being ripped right from under you. Um, and the Carbon Management Limited, you'll see certain familiar faces on there. Uh, is the board, except me show you. They say so all these stuff is connected. All right, the phone done soldering, and I ain't answering the phone yet. Just 1 second. Oh, you could hold the line. Hold the line, caller. The line isn't open yet. But I'll come to you right in a minute. Just give me 1 sec. Uh, okay, let me open this. So this what you're seeing here is Carbon Management Limited. That's what got our carbon credits that they don't talk about no more, but they just taking it. And they have directors and advisors Andy Ferguson, Antoine Bastian, Michael Patton from Lennox Patton, Jeffrey Kerr, Dr. Carlton Watson, and then on the bottom, the scientific advisors, Dr. Austin Gallagher, Dr. Carlos Darte, Christina Mittermeier, Livingston, Dr. Livingston Marshall, and Dr. Alison Myers. Remember her from our documentaries about our Aragonite? So all these people are united. Remember Alison Myers? All right, she's bragging about how much Aragonite they got from the Bahamas, etc. That's what it is. So I just wanted you all to see that. All right. Um, Ms. Green, how you feel about these same people, these Anthony Fergusons, Franklin Wilson, all these same people owning everything in this country?
How do I feel? Let me be calm when I say what I have to say. The cycle seems endless. With all of our national assets, our people are being deprived. It is being used for the wealthy, for corruption, to make monies off of the Bahamian people. And that's coming from both of the political divide. It's an endless cycle, endless cycle. When they die, their children rise up to continue the cycle. And I realize that they can only continue the cycle is because Bahamians allow it. Now, it was a difference when we did not have the information. They kept the information from us through not putting out the freedom of information or enacting it fully. They kept the information from us because it was a lot of corruption. But now that we know, now that we see what is going on, and this is both the PLP and the FNM, and we understand that the cycle will not end. The cycle cannot end because this is their money. This is their life. It's all about them. And we are never going to see any type of results, any type of answers that's going to bring relief to the Bahamian people. So at this point, Mr. Bain, yes, I was speechless. But at this point, we have no one to blame but the Bahamian people. But we have no one to blame besides us. Now we have young people coming out of school, young people coming out of college, young diasporas that want to return back home to build this country. But because this country is established and built on corruption, there is no room here for our people to build a better country unless the old people, the people who know what's going on, stand up, rise up, and remove these corrupt dogs out of leadership. So right now, my hope is in the young people, the future voters of this country, because obviously this generation is in it. And I blame in us.
Yeah.
Okay, I am not blaming me, because, I stand it. I got to blame the others. I hold that basket. But Mr. Bain is very upsetting, man. Everything is in black and white. You see their faces. You hear the names. You look at the past. You look at our national assets, our resources. The same names keep coming up. The same political divides keep popping up. And Bahamians keep voting left or right when there is an option. And then after all is said and done, I've been receiving messages. What can we do? How can we stop this? Do we need to go into the parliament? Do we need to go into the square? No, we had an opportunity to make changes because all of these things people are asking us now after election. What can we do? A lot of these things are policy changes, laws. It's a system change. We had an opportunity, but it's not too late. If we want to bring change, we can stand up and vote this government incompetent. Have them removed. But as it stands, we had an opportunity elections. But I am sick and tired of seeing these faces. Tommy Turnquest, Wilson. I am sick and tired of seeing these faces. I am sick and tired of all of them. And I hope the Bahamian people are sick and tired. I mean, we still continue praising members of parliament. We're praising members of parliament, Mr. Bain. When we have Minister Pia Glover. Right now, Pia Glover is responsible for NIB. She's responsible for NIB. Okay, we're not saying that everything that NIB does, everything that they does is illegal when it comes to our money. But at the end of the day, we need answers from Pia Glover. We need accountability when it comes to NIB from Pia Glover. We need to stop praising these people. They went into parliament to work on behalf of the Bahamian people. Stick to the laws. Talk to us about policies. Talk to us on how you can make it better. But we know that's not going to happen.
As you can see, they mocked us, this Frankie Wilson them, say for their grandchildren. That's what they doing this for. He held up a sign saying for my grandchildren.
And that's what I'm saying. When it's not them, it's going to be their children. These assets, according to our constitution, can't be for Bahamian people. Who we are seeing now, the small few, that's who the resources and the assets and the wealth of this country belongs to.
Yeah.
It belongs to the few. And Bahamians are handing it over every single time they mark those X's. I mean, they're just marking the blood over their door.
Wow.
And expect poverty to pass over. Nothing is new under the sun. Your ex is a mark of whether your generation is going to move forward or back.
Yep. I want to say, wow, so much people are on YouTube watching this. I want to congratulate you all. YouTube is beating Facebook. I mean, by far today. There's thousands of people all over the world watching this, so tens of thousands watching this all over the world right now as we speak. Um, and so I want to thank you all for being here. We want to remind you to support the movement. All right. We can only continue to do this. Everything we do is expensive. It has a cost. We still have expenses in order to continue to operate. We have rent and light and all this kind of stuff. And we need your support in order to continue to get this done. You can see that even these research that we do, if you was looking carefully at the screen, every one of those documents we pull up, we got to pay for, every single one of them. And so, this movement has a cost, and if you want us to continue to educate the Bahamian people, we need your support. All right, and the only way we can do this is with your help. And so you can see the barcode on the screen, and the link should have just gone in the chat. That's one of the barcode. That's GoFundMe. You can go to GoFundMe anywhere you are in the world, in the Bahamas or outside of the Bahamas, and use GoFundMe, and you can support us. That's that barcode there. But also, you can go to this barcode, and that will be for local. If you're in the Bahamas, you can go there, Suncash. You can support the movement, all right? And so make sure you continue to support the movement. Don't just say, oh, y'all keep going. We want you to keep going. You got to help us to keep going to make this possible and to make this happen, all right? So we'll take it off the screen. Or you can just go to our website, scroll down until you see support the movement. Remember, our website has changed. It is now coibahamas.com. coibahamas.com is our website. So you can go there. It's a very beautiful, well put together website, and I think you're going to love it, and we're going to continue to improve on it as we go. So make sure you continue to check out, and we're going to have news stories on our website, so you can see stuff that's going on when our chairman puts out stuff and I put out stuff. We have a section called Newsroom where you can go to see stories of what's going on and any events that's coming up. If you're not sure about any event, you can go right to our website and get updates on what events are coming up. Our phone numbers have changed. The national headquarters is 821-4264. 4264 means for COI. So 821 for COI or 4264, or you got 821-4265. All right, 821-4264 or 821-4265 if you want to become a member. But you can also just go to our website and right online, you can become a member right there. You can pay online, do everything you want to do online to help to support the movement. All right, so we're going to head to the phone lines now. We had someone on here holding for forever, so you got a lot of patience. Caller, you live. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead, caller. Yes.
I'm grateful for this organization, and ever since this organization has came to be, I was always a follower and will continue to be a follower and a supporter. But I want to say this to the Bahamian people who are listening, especially the small man, PLP and FNM, who continue to see what is going on. The small man, PLP and FNM, you are the sufferers. PLP and FNM are one at the top. Family, friends, business partner, lovers, and foreign friends. They don't care about you, small man, PLP and FNMs. Y'all, please, wake up and stand with this organization called the COI. Wake up and stand. We can still do something. We can encamp in and around Parliament. But it takes you, small PLP and FNM, whom they have divided and have the wool pull over your eyes. We can stop this now. Tomorrow, if you small PLPs and FNM stand up with this organization is for country over party and politics. We are for the Bahamian people and the offspring and the generations that is coming behind us. Bahamians, PLP, small man, FNM, and PLP, wake up. It's on you. We have already stood May 12th. So that's all I have to say, Mr. Bain. Thank you for this organization.
Thank you.
Ms. Charlotte Green.
Thank you, my brother. 8035995 is the numbers. 8035995. I saw it beeping a minute ago while we were on, but 8035995 is the number. So get in fast. Get in fast. We don't have all night.
So I just want our people to know, Mr. Bain, because we live in a country and we're not even aware of what all of our national assets are. Even Junkanoo is a national asset. So what I'm going to do after this live, and we're settling, I'm going to list all of our national assets, all of our infrastructural assets.
Awesome.
So pay attention to the Coalition of Independence Facebook page, my page. I'm going to list all of the Bahamian assets.
All right. Caller, you live. Go ahead. Go ahead, caller. You live.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Lincoln.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Grant. First time caller. But I will listen up.
Thank you and welcome.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that the carbon credits. I hear you talk about carbon credits from Anthony Ferguson. I remember you were saying that during the or before the election time that they were out there on our sales charter quantify the seabed in order to get this 11.34 million. Do you know if that money that they were able to secure for themselves?
I don't know them to have secured the money yet. I know the boats stopped. The boats stopped all of a sudden after election. I don't know why, but I can say that the boats did stop. And all of a sudden, I saw Anthony Ferguson and Kalina them going after the government for monies owed for insurance that they've been owing. So I don't know if they was just holding that off because the carbon credit thing was going to happen. I don't know. But the boat stopped, and then all of a sudden, the government insurance was canceled. And so that's crazy when you have one set of people having so much power over so much things that you do. And but that's what happened.
Yeah, and also too, these companies, companies that they form, based on our constitution, can't we go after them for some type of fraud or
Yes, you can. It'll be a long run because a lot of Bahamians don't have faith in our judicial system for whatever reason, and they feel you won't get any justice until you get to the Supreme Court because they feel like the Prime Minister appoints the judges, and so if he appointed the judges, then what do you expect to get? Um, yeah, so that's kind of the stuff you have to deal with. Like we have a court case that we filed for the election court that has not been. They have been ignoring that to the hilt, trying to force our hand. A lot of things that happens in this country, they don't care. Why should they care? I don't. If in Jamaica they do something that's out of order, you think Bahamians care? That wouldn't even make our news. We don't care. If in Sri Lanka they have something that the government don't do the election properly, we don't care. So why should they care about us? Yeah. So that's how that works. But we are gonna continue to fight, and the Bahamians have to stand up when it's time. All right. September is gonna be an interesting month when the house opens again.
And then last and least, right?
Uh-huh.
I appreciate your education, but we on the ground, right? This last election, Mr. Bain, can you convince me that the majority of the Bahamian people, they want to learn. They love corruption. and they would, I mean, I mean, throughout all the education and documents and businesses and stuff that you do, and that you will like sports. I mean, personally, I tell you, I'm ready to leave. I'm ready to go. Because our people ain't making no sense. Our people ain't making no sense.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
were. I feel that there were. Thank you for your call, man. I appreciate it.
yeah, thank you.
There were a lot of people who felt like they weren't going to vote. A lot of people have spoken to us, Miss Green, and they said they didn't vote because they didn't feel it would be any change. Like they were rooting for us, but they just feel like there wasn't going to be any change. It's going to be PLP and FNM, and it was nothing was going to change, and they didn't feel a third party could win. But after election, and they saw how well we did, they wish they had voted, and a lot of people have come on board on election night. We had people join our organization on our website on election night. They didn't even wait for the next morning. That same night, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, people were on our website signing up to be members, right, Ms. Green?
Yes, yes.
And so people were also signing up to be candidates in the next election. So people realized that there was an opportunity. And I think that a lot of people have woken up now, and a lot more Bahamians are going to vote because they saw them other people come out and vote, some illegally. And so I think Bahamians are going to stand up now. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, you live. Go ahead.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Bain. I'm curious about something. You said that they couldn't purchase BEC, and so they went to this other company. So what has become of BEC?
BEC still exists. BEC still is a parent company. It hasn't gone anywhere. It's still there, but they can't sell BEC legally, and so they form BPL to do their skullduggery. I mean, no one has challenged it. Maybe if someone challenges it, takes it to court, they'll have to stop. But they know Bahamians aren't going to go to that level. Lawyers aren't going to be willing to go against the grain. When it goes to our courts, they feel like they probably in control, and so they're just going to do what they want to do.
So is BEC still in operation? I mean, does it
BEC
have,
still exists. Yes, it's still the parent company.
and so which part of our bills BEC, okay, you said focal is land
Legally,
distribution.
your bill should be to BEC, but they formed this subsidiary called BPL, and they're letting BPL charge you. Someone could probably challenge that, and they'll have to stop it. But who's going to challenge it? Because it costs money to go to court, and that could run you for the next 10 years. But someone could probably challenge it because it's supposed to be BEC, but they are doing skullduggery to steal from BEC.
Okay, thank you.
All right. And of course, all of you will know that I told you from years ago now that and I showed you the documentation that they were planning to go solar, a small portion of solar, but they were going to let Focal bring in the solar so that they could charge us for that free sunlight. All right. So that's where we are right now. So Ms. Green, you have any final words you want to say to Bahamian public?
Um, I'll keep it with them.
Okay, let me take this call. Uh, Call you live. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead, caller. You live.
Another problem that the Bahamas is going to face is the Bahamas. They were talking about this marijuana bill coming up to pass that. They got to rethink that because I think that's going to get on the black market. The people that are lined up to deal with that situation already probably been selected, and there's some of the same people that's involved in all of this controversy with ownership of these companies.
Yes, it is. That's guaranteed. It's going to get on the black market. And we know this government is slack. And so when I say this, I mean the Bahamian government, not PLB F&M. They slack. So it's going to be, it is what it is. If they had drug dealers open up number companies and then billing billions and renting it to the government, and then drug dealers just taking drug money, billing billions and renting to the government, I mean, how slack as you get, could you get? I mean, so if that slackness happen, obviously they're gonna use that as an opportunity for shipments. Yeah, don't listen to your TV, listen to your phone because the TV is miles behind. Okay, we lost them. All right. So, Miss Green, I think we're gonna wrap up there. We showed the baby public. I saw someone type in a text, ask, "Well, who owns the company?" I think we were clear with that. Um, you know, the same people got the shares when they issued some shares, the Frankie Wilsons and those same people, the FNMs and PLPs. So now they're getting money on several different levels and they're finding ways to get more and more money. They stretch it out. They get money for the fuel that we pay for. They're now paying Bahamas Grid Company $8 million a year. So as extra money they get, free money, another year, a month. All right, that's a month. So I don't know if you all know how serious that is. Let me take this other call. Call you live. Go ahead.
Good night, Mr. Bean. Good night, Mr. Green.
Good night.
As a young man, I'm so deeply disturbed of how the nation is going. Like, nothing is going right. And it's no government party government, has done anything to actually push the country in the direction that makes every Bahamian benefit the country. And it's really disturbing.
It is. It
It's
is.
just, what we need to do, because the opposition is not doing nothing. We, as the people, need to push the commission inquiry.
Yes, we have to. We lost them.
Both they
Oh,
to the fire because both of them are the government. And none of them are donating to our problem.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling. I appreciate that. I don't think persons understood. Oh, my screen is dark. I forgot to turn on the lighting. Sorry about that. We about to turn off anyway. I don't think persons really understand how serious that $8 million a month is. Because payments normally don't do the maths. Charlotte, $8 million per month is $96 million a year. So round that up to $100 million a year. Bahamas Grid Company is getting. They getting $100 million a year. The people who own us, that's free money that they got for nothing. I don't see many people angry in the chat, so maybe people didn't calculate that. These criminals created Bahamas Grid Company and given themselves $100 million a year.
My,
That's
my, my,
that's just the management fee. That ain't the whole thing. Wow.
why are they not investing the money back into EPL to make the grid better? Because on the other Palmy Islands, they even have no light. And they being double charged more than us.
Well,
The government is listening to help them in making this much money.
we're gonna continually get what we vote for, and so if you vote for it, you can't cry because you vote for it. Thanks for your call, caller.
Thank you.
All right, I saw some more people calling in, but I think we're gonna run. We're gonna call it a day. Time for me to go eat, and this time to go get some ice cream. Miss Green, you want to go with me to get some ice cream? Let's go get some ice cream.
No,
No ice cream. Okay.
no. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we go, we just want to say, join the movement, become a member, join the associations. We're going to be moving forward with our town hall meetings, our community meetings. We're going to be on the ground after our summer break. So we look forward to our first meeting in the Elizabeth estate, in the Elizabeth constituency. So we're going to host a town hall meeting. Like we said, we will keep you updated with the date, time, and venue. But Elizabeth constituency, look forward to us coming down in your community to host a town hall meeting. Bahamians, if you're not tired now, I hope that we can move forward for real change in this country. Real change. Real
Thank you so much,
change.
ladies and gentlemen. This has been another interesting one. We continue to do what we can to educate the public, to educate the Bahamian people. We do this because we love you. We make a lot of sacrifice to make this happen. But we do this because we love you and we love our country. We are fighting for the Bahamian people. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you can't fight for persons who don't want to fight for themselves. It doesn't work like that. It's time for us to stand up. When we call, come. It's time for us to stand up. We're going to continue to educate the Bahamian people. Show us that you support us by continuing to donate to our cause. At the end of every month, we're going to have our dollar drive. And so make sure you come out and support our dollar drive, or you can just go to our websites at any time, coibahamas.com, and you can donate. Just look for the donate button or scroll down, you'll see it, and you can donate however you would like to. All right. So thank you. God bless you. We appreciate you. Our country is in trouble, and we're calling on you to stand with us as we bring this change. We can fix this. I believe that we can fix this. I know that we can fix this. I know that we can do better. I know that we can do better. Bahamas, God bless you. We love you. See you next time.
Well, Mr. Lincoln Bean, I had to agree with you. I had to wait to agree with you until this shit happened. Well, I started working in the construction sector, and as you could see, I off today. I don't have nothing to do anymore because the Haitians get all the work now. The Haitians get all the construction jobs. So if you was a carpenter and you was work for 200 a day or even 150, you can't make that no more because the Haitians working for 100. So I understand what you're saying, Lincoln. I used to painter, and I actually used to helper work, but I can't get a helper spot right now because too much Haitians on the job. There's nowhere for me to work. But they say that the young Bahamian men, lazy, they don't want to work, but this is why I ain't to work. And I used to skilled painter, and it's hard for me to go on the site and find a skilled painter job because anywhere I go, they like $80 a day. Like, I'm a skilled painter, I have all my tools. Why are you trying to give me? I just give him $80 a day. Hey, boss, just make it. Yeah, I make it $80 a day. Oh, that's why, because Haitians taking over. That's it.
We live in a country where more than 70% of those who are a part of our educational enterprise are the children of illegal immigrants. We have a problem that needs to be addressed. Brethren and sisters, there is a humane way, yes. There is a need for labor force, yes. But we are in an age where in a particular school in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, children of illegal immigrants lift up a particular flag and dare Bahamian students to pass that way because they declare that is their territory. This is what we are up against, and unless somebody is brave enough to say that
Amen.
has to be done,
Amen. Right, Seton.
what happens? For after all, we fought for the Bahamas, for Bahamians, and after 57 years, there ought to be a Bahamian people who are prepared to take charge and to decree and declare that while we celebrate what others have done and while we sympathize with the plight of others, we do not do so at our own peril, for we cannot cut off our nose to spite our face.